This is BBC Money Daily, your bite-sized snapshot of what's hot in business and beyond. Ahead, the third wave and new lockdowns. Can Africa survive this? We answer that in a few. Also, the World Bank forecasts economic growth for sub-Saharan Africa despite the pandemic. Plus, dancing to the beat. We explore Africa's music industry. We're coming to you from Nairobi. Let's do this. I'm Maya Hayakawa. Money Daily starts right now. As the vaccinations campaign continues across the continent, a new challenge looms. A number of African countries are either bracing for or are already in their third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, and with it, new restrictive measures which could greatly hurt businesses that seemed like they were finally well on the road to recovery. In Southern Africa, Botswana just made the announcement to temporarily halt travel during Easter and has extended the state of emergency status for another 6 months. While South Africa has opted to keep their roads and airspace open, they still have the midnight to 4 a.m. curfew, and it shall remain in place under their level 1 restrictions. They have also capped the number of people allowed to attend gatherings, subject to review in the next 15 days. In North Africa, Morocco have closed their restaurants and shopping centers for another 2 weeks. Some are already feeling the impact. In Kenya, new restrictive measures cost the stock exchange $792.2 million in a day alone. The tourism industry, a major foreign exchange earner for the country, has been hit hard as airlines and top hotels face massive losses as a result of cancelled bookings. So for more on this, I am now joined by finance expert Mphoeng Mphoeng. Thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, a lot of countries are now considering going on lockdown a second time. How are businesses and individuals coping during this difficult time?
Hi, Maya. I think the most difficult thing is for small and informal businesses, which rely on foot traffic. And they've had to become innovative and adjust their business models in reaching their clients. We've seen quite a lot of use of technology like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where people can market their different things and then allow direct access to customers who then reach them by mobile phones. And then you are able to then do deliveries. And we've seen that with a lot of retail products like clothes and perishables that have allowed people to therefore still be able to work while lockdowns have been imposed. We've also seen informal community savings groups called Morrocco in Botswana and Stockfels in SA play quite a large part in assisting small businesses with funding and managing cash flows.
Can Africa really survive a second lockdown?
Africa, unfortunately, doesn't have a choice. That's something that we need to do. The businesses that will struggle the most will be in retail and tourism and hospitality. But we just have to find a way and be innovative in making sure that we keep businesses moving forward.
So what tips do you have for people and businesses as well to really navigate through, this second round of lockdowns we're seeing now?
As you said, the first one is making sure that you're using technology as much as you can. But we have also seen that unfortunately COVID has increased uncertainty, obviously in the future term, and it's very, very difficult for people to invest. And one of the biggest ones that we have seen obviously is cash flow management from all of these informal businesses. The best way is to try to save. To ensure that any unexpected shocks to the system can then be withstood for an extended period of time.
Right, thank you for that. Now, a quick look at other stories making headlines. The World Bank says that sub-Saharan Africa is expected to record economic growth of between 2.3% to 3.4% this year from 2% in 2020. In a report released on Wednesday, the bank says the recovery will also be aided by ongoing efforts to vaccinate people against COVID-19. South Africa's government has banned the sale of takeaway alcohol over this weekend's Easter holiday to prevent a surge in coronavirus infections. President Cyril Ramaphosa, in an address to the nation on Tuesday, also announced further limits to gatherings. And finally, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has warned there would be severe regional consequences if Egypt's water supply were affected by the construction of the Grand Renaissance Dam. Talks over the $5 billion dam have repeatedly stalled over the past 10 years, and Ethiopia began filing the reservoir behind the dam last year with no deal in place. You're watching Money Daily from the BBC. Straight ahead, we take a look at the growth of Africa's music industry. Afrobeats, bongo flava, gengeton, lingala, and kwaito, just to mention a few, are some of the music genres that Africans are jamming to. But just like many sectors, Africa's music industry has been hit hard by the coronavirus pandemic. Shows cancelled, performances paused, and revenues slashed. Music is not just an art in Africa, it is a source of income for millions of people on the continent. However, the entry and uptake of streaming platforms have had a positive effect on the industry. A recent report by Universal Music Group shows streaming revenues were up by 36.4% in 2020. The report also says that recorded music revenues in Africa and Middle East region increased by 8.4% during the same period. Data from PwC forecasts that consumer spending on recorded music revenues will hit $43 million for Nigeria and $19 million for Kenya. That was the projection in 2020. So we're now turning to our Biz 100 experts from across the continent. We asked them whether they would be willing to pay for music streaming and what would be a reasonable amount. This is what they had to say.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. It's not even a question that should be asked because artists such as myself, we put a lot of effort into our craft, you know. Look at me. Right now, I'm in the studio working, and it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of time spent put, you know. So it's only normal that people pay to listen to our music. If I have to wear the jacket of a regular African with a regular income, I would say about $10 to $12 every month. $15 tops, you know.
I personally would not be willing to pay for something that I believe is important to the community, and I believe that me putting out certain music or putting out a certain message would add value to the community. And so I feel that I cannot necessarily put a number on the efforts and the the ability to make music come to life.
About paying, yes, I think the prices could come down now that we've been in tough times. I think for high resolution we could do about $13 to $15 down from 20. For the low resolution, maybe anything between $7 to $10.
Joining us now is Angela Dambuki, who is the Regional Director of the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry for Sub-Saharan Africa, to shed more light on this. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, Africa has had a very vibrant music scene over the last couple of years, but it is only recently that we've seen a rise in streaming services. Why, the disconnect?
Well, I would say that the increasing digitization at the global stage has actually influenced the technology at the continental level. So the growth of the internet and the people that are acquiring smartphones has really assisted us to be able to consume music online. You've seen recently in Sub-Saharan Africa the announcements of the major streaming platforms like Spotify, who have come and even partnered with local telcos to be able to build on these streaming services. Boomplay has been around for a couple of years and being able to build on year in terms of having that capacity. These are MTN, Tidal. There's so many of these international platforms, and of course the investments of the telcos has made it also possible. So where I would say the disconnect would be, we understand that the infrastructure levels in Africa is not to the optimal. A recent report by TTBI has rated us as the lowest household electrification rate, with a massive gap between the rural and the urban at 23% and 79%. So we are seeing that, we are able to work together with the governments to increase this infrastructure. We should be able to see more, an increase in the streaming services. And furthermore, the internet speed is far below, way below the global threshold of 10 Mbps. So devices, outreach and being able to affordability is really critical. And I hope that this will be improved in the coming years.
Let's talk about royalties. Are artists getting their rightful share?
Well, that's a difficult question because the infrastructure, again, is an issue in Africa. We've been set up for the last 1 year as IFPI, and we've been looking and working very closely with MLCs. I would say they're not getting their rightful share because the infrastructure doesn't allow them to actually do this. So what we're doing, I will just be able to talk on what we're doing as IFPI, being able to work together with the MLCs, which are the music licensing companies, and the CMOs to be able to build on this, and also working with the governments with content protection and enforcement to be able to highlight like the piracy issues that are there. We find that even with our studies, we found that last year we had 72 million legal visits. So we are trying to see how we can be able to build on this and work together with the governments and increase these royalties to the rights holders, ensure that at least the illegal sites are curbed and we're able to have more royalties coming to the rights holders.
Thank you for your insight, Angela. Moving on now, one of the effects of the coronavirus pandemic has been a rise in the number of people exhibiting symptoms of depression. Some people have turned to so-called rage rooms to help them cope. But what are they? And is smashing things up a good way to deal with stress? We went to one in South Africa to find out.
My favorite thing to smash is a TV, one of those old school tube TVs, and it just disintegrates.
Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a steep increase in the number of people experiencing anger, anxiety, and even depression. Experts are calling it a shadow pandemic.
Welcome to Rage Room. We have baseball bats, a few sledgehammers for you to choose from, and then everything in the room is fair game. Outdoor is the only thing you can't touch.
One local businessman here in Johannesburg thinks he's found the perfect way to help people let off some steam.
A lot of people tell me we're stressed, I'm angry, I'm tired, I'm done with this, or I've lost my business.
So the last year of COVID has definitely been one of frustration. Definitely myself, my family, my friends have taken a lot of strain. There's a lot of tension, and a lot of that we internalize. So for me, this rage room is something as a way to discharge some of that energy, discharge some of that frustration.
Is the rage room a healthy way of dealing with stress?
The idea of rage rooms, I think, can, possibly assist, but it's a very short-term kind of relief. I think it also has a potential of reinforcing the anger that we don't want people to amplify.
That's it from us. Goodbye.